Okay, so this piece is all about the chakras and the chakra colours and what they represent, also known as the rainbow colours. So I've used, as you can see, a whole range of brands, and I use different brands because that helps me create the cells and the lacing that I want in a piece. So I'll just do the close-up on the colours and the brands that I'm using. These will also be listed in the description below. Now for my base, I'm using a titanium white. That's by Mont Marte, and I do find that using that as a base colour will also help with the lacing and the sounds. The colours have been mixed using my own pouring medium and have been watered down to create the fluidity that I require. So I'm using a 40" by 20" deep edge canvas. So let's see what we can create. Okay, so let's get this base colour down. As I said, I'm using the titanium white by Mont Marte, and I find that that base paint helps me create the lacing and the cells that I would require. If I didn't want lacing and cells, I would definitely use a different brand of paint. But yeah, this works well for me. So I am going to just make sure I've got a consistent layer on the base. One thing that I've learned since doing this is having your base paint and making sure that you've got a good consistency on your base paint and on your base, is key to the design turning out on the canvas. I have scraped many canvases before purely because I haven't got my base paint correct, and that's really affected the design. So my top tip for anyone, beginners, whoever, I think get your base paint right, because that is definitely the key, or that's what I've learned and that's what I've found. That's my key to the success of the actual design that you're doing. So you'll see here, I'm just double checking, hello, I'm just double checking that the layer is consistent. I just give it a quick look over just to make sure I can't see any lumps or bumps of paint as well. Okay, so I'm going to layer my paints, start with the red. And what I would say, guys, is I've done this a couple of times already and scraped the canvas, and each time you scrape, please don't think, oh, I've really messed this up, I can't do this, this isn't working. Every time you scrape canvas, you've learned something, and then the next time you go back over, you will learn what you've learned before, and you will change your technique or your style or your approach. So every scraped canvas is a learning curve, and that's the positive I take out of this. So please believe me when I say, you're seeing the version that I've wanted to demonstrate today. But there were a couple of versions before where the paint's either muddied because I layered them too close on top of each other, or I didn't really think about what other colours I would create by blowing those paints out. So please do not feel bad. So many people actually message me and say, oh, I've had a really bad day, I've scraped the canvas. It's all good, we all go through that, and yeah, everything we can learn from, so please don't feel bad about it. Okay, so back to this piece. You'll see that I've layered the paints with a little bit of white in between each one. Now, the client that wanted this piece wanted a very clean piece, so I'm trying to keep the colours separate, but also blow them out. So I'm just going to torch it because I do have some air bubbles, and I'm going to do like a blowout motion for each colour. Okay, so I am torching, and I'm torching all the colours, and I'll also torch the base colour as well. That's because I'm not trying to create cells doing this. I'm getting rid of all the air bubbles that I've created by mixing my paints up. So when I mix my paints up with my pouring medium, you get air in all of that, and it's the bubbles that I want to pop because I don't want little pin bubbles when I finish. Now, I've not added any more base paint to then blow over the colours, because I had enough paint on my canvas anyway, and I'm trying to ensure that I get a consistent layer, so when it dries it's a very clean layer. So I didn't add any more because it didn't need it. Okay, so I have sped this part of the video up because I've taken quite a bit of time by doing the blowout quite slowly. I have enough paint on the base of my canvas to help the flow of the paint, but I don't have too much where it will spread really quickly. I've done this because on the previous attempts, I mudded some of my paints and my colours together, and that's not the technique that the client wanted. So by doing it slower has enabled me to control the paint flow a lot better. So I'm just blowing out the paints, and when I'm doing that, I am also standing back and just having a look at the composition and the perspective on the canvas. And then what I'll do is you'll see that I'm just going back over those colours and blowing out the design to the composition and the perspective that I want. I'm still maintaining some of the white base to create the negative space, but what the client wanted was a burst of colour, the chakra stroke rainbow colours across the canvas to make quite a bright, vibrant impact. And then when people look at that, they kind of have a look and they might get some emotion from it. They'll get a sense of what it means to them. This piece is all about individuality. It's about vibrancy. It's about brightening up the room that the painting is going to be in. And that's really important because I wanted to make sure that I maintained those chakra colours across the whole piece. I'm going to have some fun soon by experimenting and mixing up the colours a little bit more. And I've seen that more recently with some of the artists that give me inspiration. You'll see that Molly's done her Bright Line series, and you'll also have seen Olga do some gradient rainbow as well. And then more recently, you would have probably seen Rinska do and use these rainbow colours in the Miracle Life project that she's done. So I've taken some inspiration from across a band of artists to create this piece. But I've only done this because I've understood what my client really wanted, and it was a very clean, vibrant piece. And I hope, and I can, only hope that they really like the piece as much as I do. I'm really happy with it. I'm just going over the pieces now just to make sure that I'm happy with the composition and the overall look, and I'm hoping that it also dries as vibrant as it is wet. Also remembering some of these colours will go a little bit darker when they're dry. So I will take you in for a look at the wet version now, and then I'll show you the dried version after. Okay, so here is the wet version. I'll just take you in a bit closer. You can see the lacing and the sounds. That's because I've mixed my paint brands, and I find that if I use Mont Marte titanium white as my base paint, it helps create this lacing and these cells that you see. I've managed to ensure that the colours are clean. I'm a bit conscious of that yellow there. I don't want that to get swallowed up by the white, but let's see how it dries. And yeah, I'm really happy with this. So I'll show you the dried version. Here we go. So I'm really, really happy that it dried exactly how it looked wet. The yellow did maintain its position. So I'm really, really happy about that. It's a very clean chakra rainbow piece. I've shared a picture with the client, and I'm so proud to say that they absolutely love it and they're really, really happy with it. So that makes me happy too, because this was for them and it was really important that they enjoyed that piece and were happy with that piece. I'd love to know what you think. Please drop the comments below. It's always great to hear from you. I just also want to say thank you so much for everybody's support and encouragement. Your feedback and your support means the world to me. So thank you so much. It really makes me smile every day. And I hope to see you again soon. Take care. Bye.